do a quick finish the second half of lesson 6, talking about standard deviation. We talked about mean absolute deviation in the first video. Standard deviation, again, I'm just going to repeat, is a value that represents how far other values are from the mean. It's an average. There are 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviation. It's a number that you get by calculating with really complex things. We don't calculate it. They will give it to us. So just like this here, if you know the mean of the data is 21 and you know the mean or the standard deviation is 3.5, you're going to take 21 and subtract 3.5, which is why they got 17.5, and then 21 and add 3.5. So you're going to go 1 standard deviation below and 1 standard deviation above, and then you're going to write a sentence saying all the values between 17.5 and 24.5 are within 1 standard deviation of the mean because they are only 1 bracket away, 3.5 below or 3.5 above, so within 1 standard deviation. Okay, now I already calculated this, so you're just going to have to flow with me here. So how do we calculate standard deviation? Again, we don't. They give it to us. So in this example, it says the standard deviation of the quiz scores for Class A is about 1.2. Over here in the table, you see the quiz scores. They're very close together. 6 to 10 is all they are. There are 12 scores, so we would add them all up, which is 99, and divide by 12. We're finding the mean. That's the only thing we'll have to find because we can't find standard deviation. They have to give it to us. Then we find the range of values. So we take our mean, 8.25, and we subtract 1.2, which is 7.05, and we take 8.5 and add 1.2. So this is standard deviation below it, and this is 1 standard deviation above it. Then we take these two values and we write our sentence. Now I gave you kind of a rubric here, and all you had to do was fill in the blanks, but you're not going to get that for all of them. Notice I used the terms quiz scores because that's what we were talking about. Depending on what you're talking about, that will change. So the quiz scores that are between 7.05 and 9.45 are within 1 standard deviation of the mean. That's exactly how you will write it for every single one, just changing what it is that we're talking about. So let's do one more example, and then I will turn you loose. So we have in exercise 1, or over here, we have the standard deviation of the amounts of caffeine is about 14 milligrams. So that is our standard deviation. That's the part that they have to calculate for us because we don't have that capability yet. So describe the standard deviations that are within 1. Describe the values that are within 1 standard deviation. Well, first we have to find the mean. Okay, so add them all up and divide by, well, let's see, we have 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if I total those caffeine amounts, I've got 9 plus 48 plus 18. They're kind of all over the place. 35, 30, 12, 56, 24, 38, and 32. Okay, I take that total, which is 302, and divide by 10, I get 30.2. Okay, so step 2, find the range. We're going to take my 30.2 and subtract 14, and take 30.2 and add 14. So I'm pretty sure it's 16.2, but let me just double check. Yep, 16.2, and if I add this one, I got 44.2. So caffeine amounts that are between 16.2 milligrams and 44.2 milligrams are within 1 standard deviation of the mean. simple. Calculating the mean, adding them all up, dividing by the total, then we add, or we subtract the standard deviation, we add the standard deviation, we get our range, and we write our sentence. Okay. Now hopefully I'm done. Good luck. We have a book assignment first. It's going to be 1 through 4 and then 10 through 15 in the textbook. Page, I'm not sure, 700? No, 700 something. All right, hopefully you got it. All right, thanks. Good luck.